Hey, everybody, Mark Herman, a.k.a. LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I am joined here on this joyous Thursday night, almost Friday morning for you guys back east, Jungle Talk. And this is
Hooday, baby.
our
Hooday.
week 4 recap of Jungle Talk. Yeah.
All right.
And I was hoping we could do this. There we go. It's the victory horn. Yes. 2-2. They don't make it easy. They did put it away at the end, so we weren't biting our nails in the last few minutes. But
Never
Tyreek
easy.
Hill caught that long one late. We were all kind of going, "Oh no,
Right.
no, no."
Well, it's almost. I think most Bengal fans would agree it's never easy for us. But this year, I will say also that it's just through 3 weeks. 3 weeks and one game, I guess, for any team, not just us. It hasn't been easy for anybody. There have been a precious few blowouts, and many come from behind victories, and
Right.
a whole slew of upsets. We're getting even more towards parity than we were, before. So it's never easy. But for us, long-suffering Bengal fans, even before we went to the Super Bowl last year, it feels like even when we should come out of the tunnel up by 2 touchdowns, we come out of the tunnel down by 2 touchdowns.
Right. Well, it's that our history breeds and explains our neuroses as a fan base. So
That's right.
You just have to understand it, and other Bengal fans understand, and other struggling fan bases understand. So
Sure.
It's and when you look at the grand scheme of things, I'll make this last comment and then we're going to get into the game. You look at like the Chargers, they just lost Bosa for the year. They lost Rashawn Slater for the year.
Yeah.
I mean, those are huge. And Herbert's got cracked cartilage, which he's going to have the whole season.
Yeah,
so
he's not going to all of a sudden heal in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
right.
So I mean, it's one of those. So he's going to be playing in pain. So a lot of teams, like I said, there's a lot of going on. Obviously we lost Reader, but that's pretty much been it for us. So
I think Leal's probably going to play with whatever his injury is. Right. He's probably going to play with that all year, but it's a really good sign that Sunday and today he was able to play.
Right.
And now he gets this little mini bye to get off his feet and chill out a little bit.
Yeah. So let's jump in. I'm going to look at the notes on my phone. So when you see me looking down, that's all it is. I loved our start. We started really fast. I thought that was great.
2 weeks in a row, we took the ball first, and look what happened. Both times we scored, and both times we stopped them immediately on the first drive of the second half and took the ball back.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I got to say this, I hated going for it on that 4th down from like the 30. And then I hated the play call. As soon as they threw it back 5 yards, I was like, oh no. And sure enough, we're a yard or two short. And I'm like, what the heck? And you knew I was going to say that when you saw the play. Mark's going to bring this up.
Your voice was like echoing my ear, particularly because it was one of the last things that you said in the preview is that Zach Taylor won't make that mistake again. And here he is.
Yes.
When we've got easy 3-point. And listen, for anybody out there, I'm a proponent for going for it an awful lot. I'm a proponent of, stepping on the neck and going in for the kill. And I love that call. Maybe not the play call, but I love the going for it.
Right.
We're at, say, the 3rd quarter. But this is the 1st quarter in a close game.
7-3 with 7-3.
And even though the running game had been doing better than it has in the last couple of weeks, this is still an opportunity. Listen, Evan McPherson is not a backup plan. He's a weapon.
Yes.
So this is when you just trot the guaranteed 3 points out there. It's guaranteed.
Yes. And when we are at the 4th and goal from the 1 in the 4th quarter, I'm thinking, well, if we had kicked the 3 points back then, we'd be up 8 and we could have gone for it.
Exactly.
Right? That's when you're
100%. 100%.
So I just say, and once again, okay, we went for it, but I hated the play call. It's the same call that failed last week and we did it again.
Right.
Did we not learn? It's like going back to the refrigerator to see if something new is materialized in the shelf.
Right.
It still had no food in it, and when you go back, it still has no food in it.
Yeah, and you know what? In the preview, you and I both defended Mixon a little bit because a lot of people have been getting on him, and I still will.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have a horrible game today, although towards the end the play calling got a little less imaginative, and I think he ended up with 2.5 yards a carry, which again is not good. On that particular play, though, I will lend part of the blame to him because he was so insistent on, like, he didn't even look at the idea of cutting upfield.
Right.
He was so insistent on trying to beat everybody to the corner. And there were 3 defenders at the corner standing in front of the first down line waiting for him. Right. And they were all like, we've got him. When all he had to do was throw the brakes on, and he's got what, 3.5 yards maybe to go at this point because we threw the ball backwards.
Right.
He's got about 3 yards to go at this point. Throw the brakes on, cut it up, ram somebody with your shoulder, and see if you make the first down that way. Because he should have seen there was no way he was getting around the end. Yeah. There was absolutely no way.
But he still was getting contact either behind the line of scrimmage or
That's correct.
Right at the line of scrimmage. There was a couple plays where there was a little more opening, but like you saw the couple of the holes that Miami's line opened up for their guys. I mean, that's what our line's not doing. So you can't hold us on Mixon. He was still getting contacted at the latest at the line. So he's never he's never getting past the line on most plays. There were a few plays where our line got a push, but it was few and far between.
Yeah, I actually caught myself considering the idea late in the game of whether, because of how many times Burrow has been hit and sacked. By the way, they only allowed 1 today. Good. So we're trending in the right direction.
Absolutely.
After 13 in the first 2 games, we've allowed 3 in the last 2.
Yeah.
Which is great. But I know this is probably not true. These guys are professionals, they're veterans, etc. But I caught myself thinking, I wonder if just the pass protection has become such a priority in practice, and they're talking about it so much in practice. It's almost like these guys forgot how to block for the run. Yeah. It's like they have no idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they all kind of come together and hold everybody off, and Mixon's like, well, where the fuck do I go right now? Right.
Well, Kappa got pushed back on that one play when we were, inside the 5, and you just saw him get blown back into Mixon, and I was just like, and we know he's a quality guard. So it was they're not, like I said, hopefully they're gelling and we see a better running game as the weather gets bad and we get later in the year. So,
yeah, I did think it was very encouraging. I don't know if you caught this, but towards the end of the game, after our last touchdown, Burrow went around to every guy on the offensive line and said, great effing job to each one of them. Kept saying the same thing over and over to each guy.
Read his lips, yeah.
It was pretty obvious. So at least, that much is encouraging. He was saying, you gave me just enough time to, for that to happen, what I mean, for us to move it up the field. So hopefully, with better pass protection also comes keeping teams honest and getting better rush plays out of the deal.
Yeah, I agree. Obviously we're going to talk about Tua. I think that we're going to, now the players association investigations going to go over the next 2 weeks. I think they're going to find that this, because that was not a dirty hit. I mean, he didn't land on him or anything. He grabbed him around the waist and he threw him down. Yeah. It's a completely legal, football play. It was just a hard hit. We knew he had his back hurt. So why not, throw him down hard? But so clean play, but the way that his hands were and all that, we know that. And I just think that he was concussed last week. And
that wasn't his first concussion this year. We know when the first one was.
And that's the thing about concussions. Each one gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And that whole reaction and everything. The first thing I thought of was, well, he should have even been in the game. He should still be in concussion protocol.
Right.
And I think that's what we're going to find out. And even Al Michaels said, yeah, this is going to be a hornet's nest. I mean, over the next
It
week or so.
it really is, especially if, and they would have a really hard time uncovering this, but especially if they find out what I suspect is the truth, which is, now listen, they're going to ask you about that hit you took. Just say that you're having a back issue and that it was your back.
Right.
That someone coached him to say that, and that's why he said it. You know what I mean? Because we all, I mean, gosh, any numbskull watching knows that that wasn't a back issue. He
No,
could barely
no.
walk.
Well, anybody, when he stood
And
up,
it
I mean,
wasn't like this, I could barely walk. It was like
no,
this, I
he
could
was
barely walk.
wobbling, took a knee, he left the field, but then he came back. I was just, so I think that we're going to say, and this is why they have concussion protocol. He should not, if that's the case, and I suspect it is, he should not have been playing today. He should not have
Right.
been out on that field. He should have still been in concussion protocol. So this could come back. I mean, this is that was just my feeling on the Tua play. I just,
Yeah,
like
regardless, they took him to the hospital over at UC today, which
right.
is a world-class trauma center, and obviously, best wishes to him. I wish no ill will on any of our opponents, and
No.
frankly, I wish he stayed in the game and was healthy. Because he's a good competitor and a good athlete to play against, and a good gauge.
Yeah.
To know how, I mean, Bridgewater did a very
Oh,
admirable job backing him up.
I was going to say
Um,
kudos to Bridgewater. He comes in cold and immediately hits like a 17-yard pass for a first
yeah,
down. And I was just like, oh, and this is why you pay a Bridgewater.
yeah, and
Why
that,
he's
oh my
there.
gosh, and that deep play to Tyreek.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
I mean, he put everything he had into that.
yeah, I
It's
know.
just, which is funny because Tyreek is awfully fast, so it's easy to underthrow him.
Right.
But at Bridgewater, it's almost like if this is the last long pass I ever throw, I'm gonna get it there.
Yeah. So,
But he did a very admirable job. But
yes.
I wish Tua could have stayed in the game healthy and we could have competed against him. Regardless, I just best wishes for a speedy recovery.
Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was I absolutely hated our 2 minute, plays again. In this case, it was the defense. I mean, just giving up that late touchdown right before half. Come on, guys. I mean, Burrow makes a great decision, goes after Howard with Higgins. We get that touchdown. We're up 14-6, and then he goes ahead and we just give it back. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I absolutely hated the way we fit. We have got to get better at finishing first halves. We have to.
Well, and I think that especially in this situation, I just wonder if if and if yes, how much time at all was spent on the things that Teddy Bridgewater has a forte in.
Right.
Because if we even spent 3 hours on it with the defense, 3 hours out of the couple practices we had, if we spent 3 hours to know that Teddy Bridgewater is generally a game manager. He's a dink and dunk guy, but he's extremely accurate. The fact that we picked him off is pretty miraculous because he doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. I mean, it looked like I don't even think we were playing a prevent at that point, but it sure looked like it
Yeah.
because everything underneath was wide open.
Yeah. So I just didn't like it. And like I said, I hate going in the locker room. Fortunately, the defense showed up and we just stopped them on the first drive of the next.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see a double dip there and whatnot. So
Yeah.
second half, I really like the fact that once they took the lead 15-14, we immediately went, started opening up the playbook, hit Boyd on a long one. That was nice to see. And it kind of took control of the game at that point. So
yeah, and in the middle of a bunch of extremely vanilla play calling,
oh yeah. Oh,
we actually mixed in that pass from Boyd to Chase,
right.
where we had trouble getting Chase involved at all. I think he only had 17 or 18 yards at that point in the game. He finished with I think 81 maybe, which is almost surprising that he got that high. But that was a nice little spark plug there to mix in that Boyd pass there, and it was a great pass.
Yeah.
But just to get Jamar involved, B, do something that wasn't just so boring, and seemed to get a couple guys pumped up a little bit.
Yeah, no, Boyd, I think it was the fifth pass Boyd's thrown in his career. He's 3 out of 5.
That's
And you
right.
could see, I always love it when you have the ex players that used to be quarterbacks, that you could see that he put some zip on it. This wasn't just this wasn't the punter throwing to the guy, just
Yeah, he
trying to
didn't
throw the
just lob it up
lollipop.
there. Usually, like when you run a halfback option, it's always like a
Yeah,
big floater.
right.
But yeah, he put a little
Yeah,
zip on that ball, kept it close to the sideline. I
yeah.
mean, Chase caught it, had his 2 feet in, stepped out of bounds.
Yeah. So overall, like I said, it was a big win. It was a great win. Were we perfect? No. But hey, after an 0-2 start, we're 2-2.
That's right.
So worst case is we'll be one game back on Sunday, because the two teams we were chasing are 2-1. So Pittsburgh's got the Jets. Baltimore has a very tough game against Buffalo, who I don't know is going to step on a rake 2 weeks in a row. And
I don't think so.
so I think Cleveland probably wins their game, but we've got 2 games against them. So it's going to be a tight race all year.
I think so too. Yeah.
And and then I think I had 27-21. Wasn't that my prediction? It was 27-15. So we were I think you had the spread right and I had the score right, the Bengals score right. But whatever it
Yeah, I
was,
don't I don't
it's
I
a
don't
W.
remember
You know
exactly.
what? I'll be wrong every week as long as we win.
As
I
long as
don't
we
care what
win,
my
yeah.
predictions on the scores are. I'm not betting actual score on anything. So, but
Yeah, and and we had some good performances today. Burrow had 287 yards, had a
that's
pair of touchdowns. His average was almost 9.5 per pass per completion, which is good. Higgins had a great day. We all know
yes.
that. God bless him, because we couldn't get the ball to Chase.
And
And
and Boyd and Hayden Hurst.
That's
That
right.
and Hayden Hurst had a really good catch in traffic that was negated by a penalty. But
That's
so
right.
he had that one play where he just bowled through people. I said that there were going to be highlight reel plays, and that's what I expect from Hayden Hurst. Is he doesn't run around you, he runs through you, and we
That's
saw
right.
that
Yeah.
on
And he
the
had
first one that got the first down. His
Yeah,
first
he
down.
had he had a trio of catches for 27 yards, but all three of them were really, really important
Yes,
catches that either were drive extenders or
touchdown.
and the touchdown, of course.
Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, everybody seemed to play their role, and you could tell that Chase was a little disappointed, but I believe Chase when he says, listen, I just want to win. I
yes.
don't care what my stats are. I just want to win. And frankly, I mean, 4 catches for 81 yards is nothing to sneeze at.
Hey, if that's your
I
off
mean,
game,
we all expect greatness from Chase every time he goes out, and so does he, and so does Burrow, of him. But how many guys can you name in this league that would be disappointed by 4 for 81? Most of them would be like, "Yeah, that's a good game."
well, like I said, guys that are used to 7 for 190 and 2
Exactly,
touchdowns. Those are the
exactly.
guys that get disappointed. So
And
that's
he'll get plenty more of those. The team stats is very interesting. It's you put up the team stats between Miami and Buffalo during our preview, and how lopsided it was, and how, if you had to guess, you would say Buffalo just killed them,
yeah.
when in fact Miami won that game. Today, everything was, I mean, right on. Like number of plays, average yards per play, time of possession. The difference, really the big difference maker was the 2 interceptions by Von Bell.
I was going to say the 2
Um,
turnovers.
yeah.
Yeah,
But other than that, everything was just, I mean, tick, 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 tick. I
yeah,
mean, check it off. Everything was almost exactly the same.
yeah.
So it was a little more hard fought than I thought it was going to be. We had a little more trouble scoring than I thought we were going to have. But all that matters is you come out at the end with a W, baby.
I thought it would be that close scoring, ugly kind of game, similar to last week. And that's why I was so frustrated when we didn't take the 3 in the beginning. I was
Right.
like, come on, 10-3, you always take the points, especially with the 30-yard line and it's the first quarter. So, but I kind of
it's the
expected
first
that.
quarter thing that drives me nuts.
Yeah.
It's the first quarter. You always take the points in the first quarter. You're still feeling out the other team.
Yeah.
You're still getting some idea of how this game is going to progress. So if you get an opportunity to get points, get points.
Yeah. Well, especially if you stalled on the first drive and settled for a field goal, then I could maybe understand the mindset of really wanting to extend the drive and get the touchdown. But we had the touchdown on the first possession. We gave up the field goal. Why not take the field goal again and stay up a touchdown and score on your first 2 drives and keep the train rolling?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So,
well, and I mean, not that anybody expected this, but I mean, at some point you have to say, because you haven't really gotten a feel for where the game is going, how it's going to flow, what's going to happen as far as each team's ability to score and whatever. And you're up 7-3. You decide not to take the points. Well, what now if it turns into a defensive battle and the next touchdown isn't scored until Miami scores with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and you're losing now instead of tied? I'm not saying that that's probably ever going to happen, but it could. You just don't know how the game is going.
I agree.
You got to take the points in the first quarter.
I agree. Well, now he's made the mistake twice
in a row.
In the next game, I'm expecting a better decision. And if we do, in fact, make the decision to go for it, I would like to see a different play call, one where we don't throw the ball back 5 yards.
That's right.
We're at one. I'd take a Burrow sneak. I mean, come on.
Right.
I never understand throwing the ball back. You have 1 yard to go, so let's make it 6 and then try to get 6.
Which, by the way, we had no less than 3 opportunities that I think would have been prime for a Burrow sneak today.
Yeah.
And we didn't do any of them. I mean, it was like 4th and inches. It was like 3rd and goal on the 1-inch line. It was that play. And I'm like, dude, he can get through there.
Right.
Like all he has to do is lean to the right side of his center and he's going to get the first down.
Go low so no one undercuts you.
Yeah, and I know you don't want to constantly throw your quarterback in there and risk, like an Andy Dalton thumb injury like we had or something like that. But I mean, there are times for that.
So, all right, well, great win. We're 2-2. Let's enjoy the extended week. Also, we can watch whatever game we want on. You've got, Patriots Chiefs, or not Patriots Chiefs, Buccaneers Chiefs, and you've got the Bills Baltimore. So there's a couple marquee matchup this weekend that you just get to enjoy knowing we've already won. So,
you don't have to worry about whether we just won or lost or whether our game is coming up next or anything like that. You just get to chill out and enjoy your Sunday.
Yeah, so focus on that.
I know I'm going to, because we're not going to be back till next Thursday.
That's right. Well, we will be back. We'll do our preview of the Baltimore game next Thursday, and then obviously we'll do our recap after that. If you don't subscribe, please subscribe. Come on, look how dedicated Sam is. I know it's only 8:56 here in Los Angeles, but it's almost midnight on the East Coast, and he's there filming this show so that we can get this up. So please just hit that, bang that, and hit the thumbs up for us. Bang the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. It's all we ask.
And ring that bell. Hit that thing.
Hit those notifications.
Hit that thing.
When you forget, you go, did Sam and Mark put up another show? Oh, wait, here's my notification.
Because I hit that thing.
Because I hit the bell. So go ahead and do that. We'll be back next Thursday when we look to go 3-2 against the Dirty Birds. And we will say, hoo day, everybody.
Hoo day.
Take care.